Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's great to see you again. Today, we will begin session two by first talking about some principles of effective instructions and modeling when teaching listening and speaking activities. So, when I think about what makes effective instructions for a classroom activity, I think of four principles. Number one, effective instructions help students understand the procedures. And to best do that, I think that the best kinds of instructions are simple, affirmative, and imperative. So they should be positive actions. So rather than telling someone what not to do, telling the students what they should do, and imperative, give them in the form of a command, not in the form of a suggestion or a future statement. For example, okay, now we are going to take out our textbooks and open them up to page 40. Instead, try this. Please open your textbooks to page 40. Simple, affirmative, imperative. Number two, effective instructions help set up the interaction patterns for the activity. We have many different choices for interaction patterns. We can work individually, we can work in pairs, in groups, or we can work as a whole class. Some activities will combine interaction patterns as a process. For example, think, pair, share. We've done this in class before where students can think by themselves for a minute, individual. Then they can pair up to share their ideas together, pair, and then finally, some students can share their ideas with the whole class, share. Or sometimes there's a group presentation activity, in which case students could start to work individually or in pairs, then switch to groups where they prepare some kind of presentation to give, and then finally present their results to the whole class. Number three, effective instructions should take a minimal amount of time. They should be short. So when I consider how I'm going to instruct a given activity, I try to think in terms of do, teach, do. Others call it instruct, do, instruct. And what that really means is when you consider the context of an activity, what is the minimum amount of instruction that you need to get students to do a action? In other words, can you take an activity and break it down into smaller segments of student interaction so that you only have to give perhaps two or three instructions at a time, rather than, say, providing six or seven instructions up front and then having students ask questions like, oh, what do I do next? Oh, I'm so confused. Oh, what comes next? So, for example, when we did our podcast interviews, I first asked you to simply write down three hobbies that you have. That was one instruction. Then I had you pair up and choose a podcast name. Then I had you prepare two achievements for your guest. In this method, you only need to give one or two instructions, but do the entire activity as a series of small tasks rather than as one giant block of instructions.